When you're watching a live broadcast that just flawlessly cuts between, 30 different camera angles all over the globe, you probably aren't really thinking about the heavy air-conditioned server racks making it happen.
Right, yeah. People just sort of assume it works by magic.
Exactly. But today, we are pulling back the curtain on that invisible infrastructure for our deep dive. We are exploring the technical specs of a seriously heavy-duty piece of AV equipment, the Kiloview KVW-RU03S 3RU-32CH redundant power rack mount frame.
Quite a mouthful, but a very important piece of hardware.
It really is. Okay, let's unpack this because reading a product listing from an AV vendor can feel pretty dry, but this hardware actually represents the critical, invisible heartbeat of massive video productions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they don't see the staggering architectural heavy lifting going on behind the scenes just to ensure a stream doesn't buffer or, lag or crash entirely.
Right, so to understand why this rack mount frame matters, we first need to look at its sheer capacity to handle complex data. The name says 3RU, which basically means it takes up about 5 inches of vertical space on a standard server rack.
Yeah, it's roughly the size of a bulky microwave.
A very heavy microwave.
Yeah.
But it's supporting up to 32 channels of SDI or HDMI encoding or decoding modules. And the specs specifically note its H.264 HD decoding capabilities.
Which is huge for this kind of setup.
Right. So you've essentially got this high-speed 32-lane transit hub for video signals, which is just letting you freely mix and match incoming and outgoing traffic.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that exact combination of high density and high flexibility. Because if you think about AV over IP...
Which is audio-visual over Internet Protocol, for those keeping track.
Exactly, yeah. You're taking heavy, traditional broadcast signals like SDI, which is the standard professional video cable, and converting them into network data. So being able to freely mix encoding and decoding modules into one single chassis means a production team can custom build the exact routing they need.
Without needing a million different converter boxes.
Right. It's completely tailored for incredibly complex setups.
Oh, wait, let me push back a bit here. Like, with everything moving to software and the cloud these days, why do production teams still need to drop $2,000 on a heavy physical piece of metal to handle this? Can't a cloud server just encode and decode this stuff?
Well, the cloud is great for distribution, but when you're actually on site at a stadium or a massive studio, you have physical cameras sending raw, uncompressed video.
Oh, sure. The local data pipeline.
Yeah, you need local, dedicated hardware to ingest that massive pipeline of data instantly with zero latency. I mean, software on a generic PC would completely choke trying to process 32 simultaneous channels of HD video.
It would probably melt.
Pretty much. This Kiloview frame uses dedicated hardware processing for every individual module.
Okay, so it's a dedicated 32-lane data highway. But running massive amounts of video data 24/7 has to generate a terrifying amount of heat. How does this chassis keep from just, melting itself?
That is where the engineering for zero failure comes in. Heat is basically the ultimate enemy of electronics. When hardware gets too hot, processors slow down or fail.
Makes sense.
So this frame centralizes the cooling. It has heavy-duty dual fans built in to constantly pull all that heat away from the individual modules. But more importantly, it has dual redundant power supplies.
Right, which the specs highlight heavily.
Yeah.
But are dual power supplies and those heavy-duty fans kind of overkill for a rack mount frame priced at $1,999?
Not in professional broadcasting, no. It is absolutely necessary. Centrally dissipating heat and having redundant power are standards specifically to guarantee 24-hour continuous operation.
Oh, so if one power supply blips, the other just takes over instantly.
Yep. If power supply A experiences even a microsecond voltage drop, like maybe a circuit trips in the venue or a cable gets bumped, power supply B instantly assumes the full electrical load. The broadcast doesn't drop a single frame of video, because if a regular single power supply dies, your screen goes black, and you're suddenly apologizing to millions of viewers on social media. You want to prevent catastrophic broadcast failures.
Right. You cannot afford that.
Exactly. And to put the cost in perspective, Kiloview also makes a smaller 1RU frame, the KVW-RU01. It handles just 4 channels instead of 32, and it's priced around $336.
Got it. So quite a bit cheaper for a smaller setup.
Right. So that $1,999 investment for the big one, which actually even has a 10% off code right now, is specifically scaled for high-stakes, high-density environments.
Okay. So what does this all mean? For you, it means recognizing that this Kiloview frame isn't just some metal chassis holding circuit boards. It's really a 32-channel insurance policy against technical disaster.
Yeah, just a silent workhorse absorbing all the risks so the final production looks completely effortless.
Absolutely. But it leaves you wondering, as video resolutions keep pushing from 4K to 8K and beyond, creating these astronomically larger file sizes,
Yeah.
will we eventually hit a physical limit to how much heat and data we can cram into a 5-inch metal box? Or will the hardware just keep getting denser?
It's a great question.
Keep an eye on those server racks.
Yeah.